Welcome back to another deep dive. Today we're tackling something pretty universal, something that I think touches every single one of us: worry.
That's right. And we've got some fascinating sources to look at, especially a deep dive into Matthew chapter 6, verses 25, 30, and 34. They offer some, frankly, surprising insights into what worry truly is.
Yeah, surprising is a good word for it. So our mission today really is to unpack what our sources are calling the mathematical contradiction of worry. Sounds intriguing.
It is. We're going to try and expose its real identity, look at why it can be so destructive, and importantly, uncover what Jesus offers as a transformative solution.
Okay, so what does this all mean for you listening? Get ready, because this might just make you rethink how you handle everyday anxieties, maybe even give you a shortcut to a perspective that, well, it might just set you free. So let's dive in. We often think the opposite of faith is simply, not believing, but our sources, they present a pretty radical idea, something different.
Yeah, it's interesting because not believing or being, let's say, a non-Christian, that implies a lack of relationship with God, right? That's clear.
Sure.
But worry, especially as it's framed in Matthew 6 and also Matthew 17, it's actually presented as the opposite of faith. The sources call it a double state.
A double state. What exactly does that mean?
It means you believe in God, but at the very same time, you're doubting him. It's like holding belief and disbelief simultaneously. It's inherently contradictory.
That idea of a double state, it's really interesting. Why is that kind of spiritual ambiguity, that being in two minds, why is it so problematic according to these sources? Do they give an example?
They do. Our sources point out that there's this divine discomfort with ambiguity.
Yeah.
Think about the hot or cold analogy from Revelation. It's like God saying, choose a side.
Right, lukewarm isn't good enough.
Exactly. And if you connect that, it's like trying to listen to two radio stations at the same time. You've got the faith channel saying loud and clear, God will help. But then there's this other frequency, the worry channel, whispering, God will help, but what if nothing happens? It's that, but what if? That simultaneous broadcast just creates noise, spiritual static.
Static, I like that. It makes even profound truths sound, garbled, like you can't quite hear the message.
Precisely. It scrambles the signal in our minds.
So if true faith is that clear signal, then worry is being presented here as, what, like fake faith or pseudo-faith. The sources even say it's akin to heresy. How do they make that connection?
Well, think about how cults often start. They sound similar to true belief initially, right? But then they diverge, they add their own doctrines, and end up somewhere completely different.
Okay, I see the parallel.
Worry does something similar. It starts with belief. I believe God will act. But it ends in doubt. But what if he doesn't? Or not in the way I want? And that, our sources argue, is not true faith.
So it's deceptive.
Very. The danger is that worry often masks itself as being wise or prudent, wise faith, like an attractive package. But inside, it's empty. And our sources highlight how Satan can use worry as a direct gateway. Look at Judas Iscariot. The suggestion is that his betrayal didn't come out of nowhere. It stemmed from worry.
Worry about what, specifically?
Worry that Jesus wasn't the kind of Messiah he expected. Maybe not the immediate political liberator he thought he was signing up for. Satan latched onto that worry, that gap between expectation and reality.
Wow, that's a powerful connection. And this worrying faith, it's like the weeds among the wheat in our own lives, isn't it?
Exactly. The sources use that parable garagi among the algog. It's always there, often hidden. And while God allows it for now, perhaps for our growth, the sources are clear. Eventually it gets judged, sorted out.
Okay, so worry isn't just an unpleasant feeling, it's a fundamental issue of faith, potentially even a dangerous counterfeit.
And speaking of hidden dangers, our sources go deeper. They strip away worry's mask to show us what it really is, its true identity.
Right, you mentioned earlier something about a mathematical contradiction. Is this where that comes in? What is worry's true identity then?
This is where it gets really fascinating. Worry is revealed as a time thief. And this comes directly from Matthew 6, verse 34.
Okay, remind us what that says.
It says, therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own.
Ah, okay, so there's a distinction there. Today's trouble. That's the real stuff, right? The challenges we actually face right now, everyone has those.
Yes, those are legitimate, present problems. But tomorrow's worry, as the sources frame it, is totally different. It's about a hypothetical problem, something non-existent, because it simply hasn't arrived yet. It might never arrive.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Yeah.
And this leads to what our sources call the worrying person's calculation. It's like simple but faulty math.
Okay, what's the equation?
Today's real trouble
Yeah.
plus tomorrow's hypothetical worry equals double suffering. You're adding suffering for something that isn't even here. That's worry's deceptive arithmetic.
Double suffering, that really hits home. So it's more than just an emotion. Our sources are actually describing worry almost like an addiction, a compulsion.
Exactly. A compulsion to experience non-existent future suffering today. You're prematurely drawing on pain that isn't even real yet.
Yeah.
And to make it clearer, think about the time bank analogy they use. It's powerful. Imagine you get a deposit of 24 hours each day.
Okay.
It resets at midnight. You can't save up today's hours for tomorrow, and you certainly can't borrow time from tomorrow to use today. That's just how time works.
Right. You get what you get for the day.
Precisely. Now, worry, in this analogy, is like trying to take out a loan from tomorrow's time bank to spend it worrying today.
Okay, but what happens to that borrowed time?
It gets deleted at midnight, along with the rest of your unused time for the day. So you've spent today worrying with borrowed time that just vanishes. How incredibly foolish is that from a time perspective?
Wow. When you put it like that, it sounds incredibly inefficient. The economic language here is striking too. They
Yeah.
talk about an opportunity cost.
Yes, a devastating opportunity cost. By using today's precious, non-refundable time to worry about tomorrow's maybe problems, you actively lose or forfeit something real.
What do you forfeit?
You forfeit the peace God provides specifically for today. You trade actual, present peace for anxiety about a future that might look completely different anyway.
So worry is essentially an investment with a guaranteed negative return.
Our sources call it negative 100% return, the worst possible investment. You pour energy into solving imaginary problems, which means your real, present issues. They get neglected, dispersed, unaddressed.
Okay, this paints a pretty bleak picture of worry as this insidious time thief. It steals our present peace, wastes our time deposit. So if that's the problem, what's the solution? You mentioned it's hidden in that same verse, Matthew 6.34.
It really is. It's in the phrasing.
Yeah.
When Jesus says tomorrow will worry about itself, notice he personifies tomorrow. He speaks to tomorrow. He commands it.
Huh. I never quite caught that nuance before. So it's not just practical advice like don't overthink the future.
It's far more profound than that. Our sources say this is a theological declaration. It's about who is the master of time. Only the true master can command time itself, can command tomorrow.
Wow. Okay. The master of time. That shifts things significantly. So the sources then present these two contrasting ways of viewing time.
Exactly. First, there's worry's time view. This is where you operate as if you are the master.
And what does that lead to? What's the outcome of that view?
Well, think about it. If you think you're in charge of time, you end up regretting the past you couldn't control, feeling anxious about the present you're trying to manage, and constantly worrying about the future you're trying to predict and secure.
It sounds exhausting and futile.
It is. There are basically no positive outcomes. It's all negative.
Yes.
Regret, anxiety, worry.
Okay, so what's the alternative? What's faith's time view?
Faith's time view starts with a different premise. God is the master of time. And when you accept that, everything changes. Our sources say, through this lens, the past is covered, it's forgiven by grace, the present moment. It's lived by grace, relying on his provision now. And the future. It's guaranteed by grace. You don't have to secure it. He holds it.
Past forgiven, present lived, future guaranteed, all by grace. That completely reframes faith, doesn't it?
It really does.
It's not just about getting into heaven later. It's actually, according to these sources, about living differently now. It's declaring, okay, worry isn't actually a problem for me anymore because my time is in God's hands, especially after accepting him and living in the Spirit.
That's the core of it. And to make this really practical, our sources point to Philippians chapter 4. There's like a 3-stage worry treatment plan there.
Okay, let's break that down. What's stage 1?
Stage 1 is a clear command. Do not be anxious about anything, period. It's not a suggestion, it's an instruction.
Not optional. Got it. What's next?
Stage 2 is the method. How do you obey that command? The answer is by prayer and petition. You actively bring things to God.
Okay, command, method. What's the third stage?
The specifics. It says, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And who are you presenting them to? The master of time we just talked about.
Right, and that emphasis on thanksgiving is really key, isn't it?
Absolutely crucial. Our sources highlight this. If you don't actually believe deep down that you'll receive what you need, you won't feel genuinely thankful when you ask.
Right. That makes sense. Gratitude implies expectation, trust.
Exactly. But here's the encouraging part. Faith, they say, is training. Hunryon, practice. It's not always about feeling it instantly.
So you don't have to feel grateful to act grateful.
That's the idea. Even if the feeling isn't there yet, act in gratitude through prayer. Make the choice to thank him anyway. As you practice that, you train yourself, and eventually you will lay down worry. It's a process of training your heart and mind.
Okay, so we lay down worry through prayer, petition, and thanksgiving. Is there anything else fundamental that needs to be laid down alongside worry, something that fuels it?
Yes. This is a big one. Our sources identify greed, or maybe covetousness is a better word, yoksham as the root cause of probably 90% of our worries.
90%, that's huge. How does greed connect so directly?
Think about it. We often already have enough for today, truly enough. But worry kicks in when we desire more than enough, or when we constantly compare ourselves to others and what they have.
The comparison trap, yeah.
That fuels anxiety. We might even convince ourselves that we haven't received what God has given just because it doesn't look exactly like what we wanted or what our neighbor has, even if it's perfectly sufficient for our needs right now.
That desire for more or for something different. This makes me think of the manna story in Exodus, that whole daily provision thing. Do the sources link that?
Oh, absolutely. It's presented as a core lesson. The daily manna for 40 years in the wilderness wasn't just about food. Our sources call it one-day God trust training.
One-day God trust training. I like that.
Yeah. It was designed to prepare the Israelites, to train them to fully rely on God day by day, before they entered Canaan, where they'd face all sorts of worldly influences and temptations to rely on themselves or idols.
So what were the specific rules about manna that teach us about worry?
Well, remember, yesterday's manna, it rotted. The lesson. Don't cling to the past, whether it's past successes or past provisions. Let it go.
Okay. What about the future?
No, tomorrow's manna was given. You couldn't hoard it.
Yeah.
The lesson. Don't worry about the future's provision today. Trust it will be there when tomorrow comes.
So don't live in the past. Don't worry about the future.
Exactly. And today's manna was always fresh, sufficient for the day. The lesson. Focus on the present. Receive and be thankful for today's grace, today's provision.
Wow. Past rots, future isn't here, today is fresh. That's incredibly powerful. It really does push us to concentrate on today's grace, doesn't it?
It does. Knowing that just like God feeds the birds, clothes the lilies, as Matthew 6 says, he will absolutely provide abundantly for you today.
So wrapping this up, this deep dive really shows that worry. It's not just a simple emotion. It's presented as this deceptive force, a time thief, stealing our pace, robbing us of today's moments.
But the good news is, by understanding what it really is, by seeing its hidden mechanics, and then choosing to embrace faith's perspective God as the master of time, we really can experience a profound shift.
It comes down to a choice then.
It seems so. The ultimate takeaway really is that choice. Are you going to keep operating under the illusion that you are the master of your time with all the anxiety that brings?
Right.
Or are you going to surrender to the actual master of time and choose to live in the guaranteed peace of his grace day by day?
So what does this all mean for you listening as you go about the rest of your day? Maybe consider this. What yesterday's manna, what past regret or success are you still trying to cling to?
Yeah, or what tomorrow's loan of worry are you still trying to borrow against?
What's preventing you right now from fully experiencing and being thankful for today's fresh grace? Definitely something to mull over.